Okay, guys, so part two of Barbara Lee. Okay, so part two of Barbara Lee. Barbara Lee grew up in a two-parent home. She had her mother, whose name was Mary. Her mother was a social butterfly. She used to enjoy anything that was social. She loved it. She used to make hors d'oeuvres and things like that for the social events in the community. She went to church. She really did enjoy the social life, the social part of things. She used to make hats, like church hats. Y'all know the lady church hats. She used to make the church hats, and she was a beautician. The father, he worked in the factory. He was a very handsome man, with a dark skinned man with curly hair. He was just a handsome man. And the mother was pretty too. She was a very light complected woman. And once again, she just enjoyed all the social things that was involved in the community. So Barbara Lee was the oldest out of four siblings. She had two brothers and two sisters. Her brother directly under her, he was a junior, Raymond Jr. She had a sister, E. We gonna call her E. She had another sister, Brenda, and then she had a baby brother, Vaughn. So Barbara Lee's baby brother he came kind of later on in life. So when he came along, Barbara Lee was basically already a teenager. So she had to do a lot of things to help her mother, because her mother used to do hair. Her mother was big time in the community, where she used to attend a lot of social events. She used to help out for a lot of social events, like made the hors d'oeuvres and things like that. So Barbara Lee had to pitch in and help the mother out a lot. So Barbara Lee would take her baby brother with her a lot of places that she had to go, like if she had to run to the store for her mother or whatever. She used to always have her baby brother with her. So Barbara Lee did really well in high school. Once she got to high school, she did really good. She was a straight A and B student. She just did really well. She made her parents were really proud of her. And her mother had high hopes for her. Her mother just knew she was going to go to the top. Because she was so good in high school. She was real smart. She got into a lot of programs. She did a whole lot of stuff in high school. She was popular. She got on the cheering squad, and one of her little cheers was, "Oh, come along, little children, come along, boom, 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 while the moon is shining bright, 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 bright. Get aboard, little children, get aboard. We're gonna raise the roof off tonight." That was one of her cheers. Another one of her cheers was, "Push 'em back, push 'em back, push 'em way back. The captain's at the huddle, the team is at the head. They had a conversation, and this is what they said. Push 'em back, push 'em back, push 'em way back. Push 'em back, push 'em back, push 'em way back." And Barbara Lee, she loved all of that. She loved being popular. She loved having a good time. She loved high school because she was so good at it. She was so good. She was studious. She was just good. So she really enjoyed her little high school life and all of the things that, she did in high school because she was popular. But Barbara Lee met Albert. Barbara Lee met this handsome, cute young man. He wasn't even in the same grade Barbara Lee was in. I mean, he was two grades below Barbara Lee, but he was a looker. And he captured Barbara Lee's attention. I mean, you see him over there. He was handsome. So, and he dressed well. He smelled good. You can just imagine. He probably smelled good all the time because he was always well kept. So she met Albert. So Albert was, once again, he was in a few grades below Barbara Lee. He was younger than Barbara Lee, but once again, he caught her attention. And honey, it was on after that. Albert was raised in a one parent home. He was his mother, Rachel, she was just a good looking lady. She was a petite woman with a big old beautiful mole on her face. She was just a good looking fly woman. And she raised her son. She worked hard and she raised her son. He was an only child. And Rachel raised her son, Albert, by herself. So needless to say, Albert was kind of out there because Rachel, she had to work and he was an only child. So Albert didn't have anyone else to depend on but himself when his mother went to work. But oh honey, he met Barbara Lee and him and Barbara Lee got together. Now, I think it's important to remember or to mention that Barbara Lee, she used to have to drag her baby brother along pretty much everywhere she went because her mother, she worked, she was doing hair, she was making hors d'oeuvres for the high society, she was doing a lot of things in the community. So, Barbara Lee, she wanted a little change. She wanted something different. And when she found and met Albert, she was happy to have such a distraction. So now I can't tell y'all where her and Albert went to do what they did. But in this picture, I can tell you that Barbara Lee is pregnant with her first child. And it is safe to mention that her first child is by Albert right there. So you can imagine what the family thought and what the family said once everybody got the news that Barbara Lee and Albert was messing around and and Barbara Lee was pregnant. You can imagine back in the 60s what the parents said. And if you can't imagine, I'm getting ready to tell you. So Barbara Lee's father asked Albert, so what you gonna do? And Barbara Lee's mama asked Albert, so what you gonna do? So, of course, they got in touch with Albert's mother, Rachel, and everybody met. Everybody had a meeting of the minds. So all the parents met, Albert, Rachel, and Mary. Mary and, not Albert, I'm sorry, Raymond and Mary, who was Barbara Lee's parents, and Rachel, all three of them met. Of course, Barbara Lee and Albert was with them. So I guess everybody decided, I know, everybody decided that Barbara Lee and Albert would get married. And I guess neither one of them, they were young. So they went on with what the elders said. And not to say that they did not decide that they were going to get married, because obviously Albert did ask Barbara Lee to marry him. But who knows if it was by force or by choice. The one thing I can tell you for sure is that Barbara Lee and Albert got married while they were pregnant with their first child, Sherelle. Now, Barbara Lee was kind of glad to be pregnant because she was ready to roll. So, unfortunately, Barbara Lee didn't finish high school because now here she was faced with having to raise a child. She was faced with marriage. And so that's what they did. They got married and prepared for their baby. Now, the reason I say Barbara Lee was kind of glad to be pregnant and getting ready to get out of the house because she was ready. She was, even though she loved her baby brother, she did, she didn't want to take her baby brother everywhere she went. And, she didn't want those responsibilities. She now had responsibilities of her own. And she was also glad about this as well. Barbara Lee had a cousin that, it was a boy cousin. And this boy cousin, he was kind of annoying. He was, violating. He did things that Barbara Lee didn't like. And she was glad to be from up under him as well. But Keep that cousin in mind because we're going to talk about that cousin. Okay?